everybody. I'm so glad that you could join me today. I really must tell you, I enjoy doing this show so much. And I'm so glad that I have you as listeners that I can interact with. Hopefully, please do tune in, or you have on your screen where you have a telephone number you can call in, but you can also just log in with your first name, and then you just state your question, and Amnon will relay it to me, and I will be glad to answer. Um, we have on the East Coast today was a great day again, and we're expecting some snow. I know it's not going to be a lot, and I am glad for that. That we don't expect a lot, but a little white cover like we had like last week was just fine. It makes everything look pretty. And it looked last week more like winter and Christmas than it did at Christmas time, and which I thought was really kind of odd. But we've had a very, very mild winter this year. So, hey, let's not knock it, right? It's good. It's all good. Today, as I had promised you last week, I want to talk about pets again. We're going to talk about what we can do for our pets, and also a little bit about pet training, of how that works. Anybody who has a pet, please, if you have any questions, I'd be glad to answer. If I can't answer, I will be glad to get back to you. Um, many pets, I mean, our dogs and our cats, they really depend on us. And especially now when it gets cold, and in those areas where it is not so much cold, but where it's wet and raining and really miserable. Many parts of the country have been rather miserable. And, our pets have the same problems as we have. I mean, stress is the major factor of illness in our pets. Many pets are very stressed out, even though they seem, especially in a multi-pet household, even though they seem to get along, but if they don't really snuggle and kiss each other and lick each other and really hang out with each other, they very likely have stress. And stress does the same damage for our pets as it does for us. So I would like you to really observe your pets because they are our four-legged children, right? And for instance, if a dog lives with a cat in the house, well, we know the cats, I mean, they rule the household. They can be a tiny kitten, and they could be a Saint Bernard, and that tiny kitten is going to sit in front of that Saint Bernard and say, hey, there may be a difference in size, but you know who rules this house? Me. Because I'm going to swat you one if you don't go my way. And we know that cats will do that. At least my cats do. And all my clients who come to me, I know their cats do the same thing. So cats are not so much that they are under stress, at least not every cat. If it's alley cats like I have, mixed cats that come from different cat breeds, they're usually mentally a lot stronger, as also mixed dogs are. Mixed dogs are much stronger and healthier than purebred dogs. That happens to be so with all animals. It's just really amazing. I have an Egyptian Arabian horse, and she always has something or other. if it's not her feet, she has a coat, she's drop dead gorgeous, and she is princess on the pea. Any little thing will bother her. But the least amount of stress, she goes, and she either goes lame, or she just really keeps calling for me, or she just has. Now, with her lives also an Arabian, but he's a mixed. There is some other breed in that Arabian. And let me tell you, that horse is as calm as a cucumber. Nothing bothers him. And if she bites him and she is ornery to him, he just moves away and sort of like, okay, lady, I'll move out of your way. It's okay. I know my mommy gives me food, even if you steal my food. So purebred animals, for the most part, are much more stressed and much more sensitive than mixed breed animals. I wonder if that happens with people too. Would be a good study. But if we have a pet that is rather stressed out, we know that especially dogs, if they come and they start shaking, and they start being really, they pee all over the house, and they get stressed, and they cower in corners. If you just tell them it's okay, it's not going to, they don't understand it's okay unless you have a word for them, and you've had them from a tiny puppy, and you taught them that word. I have, for instance, for my stressed out Mia, that Egyptian one who's always stressed out when the farrier comes, wants to shoo her. She goes bananas. No, I'm not going to give you my foot. No, I think I want to trample you to death. And all I do is I hold her, and I have a special word for her that I whisper in her ear, and pretty soon she calms down. And if you have a pet that is very much so stressed for all kinds of things, going to the vet, having another, or even just having a guest coming, some pets get all stressed out if a stranger comes into the house. So having a word like, it's all right, is not going to be all right when it's in the panic. What you need to do is you need to get hold of the pet, hug the pet tightly, and whisper that special word, or just stroke it, just soothe it, and in a soothing words, like, it's okay, it's okay, it's all right, it's all right, it's okay, it's okay. Now, if you just say that word while the pet is on the floor and is just not, just shaking there, then that word means it's a cue to get more stressed out. So the best way is to pick up the pet and hold the pet close. Or if it's a big animal, just hold it tight, get close to the pet, give it reassurance, and then the pet will calm down. Most people don't think horses are pets, but my horses are pets. They have the same rights as my dogs and cats. So they're just very much so pets. Another one of a behavior problem that many owners have is when a dog pulls on the leash, especially a medium size or a big dog, and starts pulling on the leash. Well, if you got when the dog was 5, 6, 7 years old, very likely there's not that much that you can do except lead by example. And what I mean by that is put the dog on the leash, on a short leash, put him right by your side. And each time that the dog wants to pull, you stop. Make the dog sit and tell him, it's okay, it's okay. Don't pull. Do not pull back on the leash. The more you pull back on the leash, the more the dog will go forward. It's just like a trigger. But it's also natural that dogs want to sniff. So have a long enough leash that you can control, not too long, like those extended leashes. They're often 15, 12, 15, 18 feet long sometimes. That is far too long to control an animal. It's just so that they don't run away. But if it's a bigger dog, on a long leash like that, that dog can pull you all across the street. So have a leash that it is the right amount of length to control the dog, the size dog that you have. Now, if you have a small dog and you have an 18-foot leash, that's fine. But if you have a larger dog and you have a long leash like that, that could be dangerous for you and the dog because it increases. It's a law of physics. The longer the leash, the more power on the one that pulls has. Okay, so you want to keep the leash at a length that you can still control the animal. And pulling back on the leash, like I said, is not absolutely good. But if the animal, always observe the animal, if the animal is sniffing and wants to, do his business, wants to lift his leg or sit down to squat, be aware of it. Don't pull, because then the dog doesn't want to go for walks with you anymore. It's no fun if you're constantly yanking on his neck. Another one is hugs and kisses. Now, we all want to hug and kiss our dogs. But you know what? Dogs don't hug and kiss each other. Have you observed dogs? They don't hug and they kiss. They lick. So if you want to do your dog is wants to really show affection, look deeply into your dog's eyes. And then I don't condone my dogs to lick my face. I wouldn't want to have that from my husband, and I certainly don't like it from my dog. So a bear hug might be nice on a bigger dog. A smaller dog, having the dog on the lap or close to you, but not really towards the face. Because, first of all, it's not very sanitary. Second, it is not a good idea to do that. Also, don't, when you're lying in bed, don't let the dog come up and stand on your chest. Do you know what that means for a dog? He dominates you. He is the alpha dog. He is the alpha animal in the house. And you are just part of his pack. So if it is a bigger dog, even a smaller dog, my little Charlie, that black and white one that you might have seen at one point, he likes to do that. But I always discourage him. I always push him off. I sit up and I show him that I'm still alpha. My animals will not disobey me for anything, and I never ever um, punish them in any way. But you have to show them that you are the alpha animal in the pack. And standing on top of you, even if they are licking you and even if they want to be nice, that means they dominate. Okay? So be aware of that, especially with a larger dog. Don't do it. Don't let your dog stand on top of you. You know, most people are also uh, like to, you know, when you just think of staring, and that's the same thing with staring at people. I can direct my horses and also my dog with my face. That means if I look at them and I tell them with my face that this is in my stance and my the way I stand, they will not disobey me. But when they do something good, it's always good dog or good horse or good boy or good girl. Not necessarily always the petting, but my voice changes. And it doesn't matter what you say. You can say, my uncle is a monkey. And if you say it in that tone of voice that you normally have for to reprimand, then the dog will obey. The horse will also. Pointing a finger or shaking your finger at your dog really does not do anything but impose stress, because that's a menacing act, and that's a menacing. Raising your hand is a menacing act. So don't do it. If you need to punish your dog for something or other, do it the second they have done the bad deed. They have torn apart your feather pillow, and the whole house looks like it is full of feathers, and you're standing there and saying, no way, this dog is a real menace. And I've had some choice words for my dogs too, so don't feel bad when you think about it. But punishing the dog afterwards is not a good idea. What I normally do, if it's something bad like that, I grab the dog, let the dog smell it, rub the dog's face in, and then I throw him out of the door. You know, they know that this was bad. And many dogs think that they've been severely punished when they are directed away from you, because they are away out of the group. They are not anymore in the group when you tell them to be away from you. That is a good punishment. But if you are pointing a finger, or if you're shaking your finger at them, that's just causing them stress, because they really don't know, you know, did I do something wrong, or why is that my human so menacing to me? I mean, after all, even though we try to make them out as children, they are not children. They are not humans. They are animals, and they have to be respected as that too.
Gisela,
Yes.
what about, I mean, you know, if they make a mess?
Oh, when
and
they make a
and
mess, that's a good one.
and
Yes.
you grab them and you stick their nose in it,
I
and you
don't
take
really stick their nose in
well,
it, but what I
you let
do,
them smell it.
I let them smell
Yeah,
it,
and then you put them outside.
and then I put them outside.
Okay, so what happens when they get used to it and then they do it? They go smell it and they run outside. And every time they go, they smell it, they run outside. Because
Right.
they think that's what they're supposed to do.
Right. That's a very very good thing. Now I have my little Charlie is blind, right?
Yeah.
And he once in a while he makes a mess in the house because whenever it's raining, he doesn't want to go out there in the rain and go and make his do. So he's learned, oh, I can do it on the now, you know what? He's blind. So what am I going to do? Punish him because he's blind? I'm not going to do that. But and that's a very good question, Amnon. There is an in between. Uh you have to observe a dog like that. You have to observe them. They usually tell you they do not want to be bad. They don't really want to mess in the house. But let's say they always you get up in the morning and there's a mess in the house because they did it overnight, or you have left them for many hours and there's a mess because they couldn't go outside, or they will never ever you won't see a dog that does it right in front of you. You grab before they're finished, before or just about when they're about to go,
Right.
and throw them outside.
Throw them? Well,
I mean I'm not so very pussyfooting around there. I kick them out. Yep, I do. Even the little ones. I mean, I don't, not so that they get hurt or anything, but they know I'm mad.
yeah, they know
I'm
that
mad. I
they've
don't
been
want,
thrown out.
huh?
They know they've been thrown out, but they
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
They know they have been thrown out. They know they are away, banished away from me. And I won't let them back in right away either. Leave them out there.
Mhm.
If you are not in a situation where you have a fenced in yard, then put him on a leash. Little Charlie goes on the leash out there. And he stays out there and he can bark and he can do whatever he wants. He's not coming in until I find that he's learned. And you know what? It has worked, except when it's raining. He loves the snow, but he hates the rain. And he can't really smell then because all he has left is his smell. And so he doesn't. None of the other dogs do it. When I first got them, the other two, all of them peed in the house. They all learned, even though they were, you know, much older than 5 years old. They learned. I show them. I give them a small little thing on the behind.
Mhm.
It's not really, it's sort of like we call it clubs. It's sort of like,
Like
you know,
some head on the
yeah,
wrist kind of thing.
yeah, it's sort of like a little slap on the wrist.
Yeah.
And tell them in a loud voice, bad dog,
Yep.
bad dog. And, you know, they this tone of voice that you have is the most important thing. If you say bad dog, doesn't mean a thing. They think they are cool, they're fine. But if you always use when they're bad dog, they will associate that sound with really being they have done something wrong.
Yep.
Yeah. And you know what? Some animals are just a little obtuse, just like people. I mean, some people are a little obtuse. They will just not learn very quickly. So sometimes you have to do it over and over again. Like I said, with that horse, it's the only animal I have ever had that it took me longer than a couple of weeks. It has taken 6 years for me to get her to the point of where the farrier comes and we both don't think we are in mortal danger of being trampled to death. Now she gives her foot. She still does a little dance and song there, but she doesn't attack us anymore.
Yeah.
But it was because she was scared. She was scared. She had a lot of oomph in her. She was able always to dominate her owners. And animals that are able to dominate will do that. And domination is when it's not corrected right away. I mean, I expect my dogs and my horses to move out of the way when I walk along. You walk, I do not want to be the one who has to push them or
Right.
step on them or tell them to go. They need to observe me as I observe them. And if you teach that from the beginning, and if you are always the alpha, you don't have those behavior problems. Now, with cats, it's something very different. Cats don't give a holy. They are the ones who dominate you, and you better not even dream about dominating your cat because it's not going to happen. But here's what you can do with cats. Now, a cat that urinates always outside of her litter box is not a good thing. It's not only messy and bad because cat pee stinks like you wouldn't believe it. And pretty soon your friends will not want to come to your house anymore because your house smells like a litter box. So, because there's really not much that they have all kinds of stuff to clean it up. But with cat urine, it really doesn't work that well. So here's what you do with your cat. If she is very likely, because cats are notoriously clean, they want to be clean and they want to have something to scratch at. So if they urinate on your rug or on your linoleum, there's nothing that they can cover up. There's no scratching. So they like litter boxes. 99.9% of the cats all like litter boxes, except if it's a deranged cat, overbred, and then I don't know what you can do with that cat. But most of the time, no, they don't really want to urinate anywhere or defecate anywhere else but in their litter box. Now, if they do it outside, and it's usually just right outside, has nothing to do with the cat being mad at you. It has something to do either that the cat has a urine tract infection and has to urinate a lot, and so they don't even get into the litter box. The litter box may be too small. That if it's a large cat, the butt hangs outside. So therefore, defecation is outside or urine is outside. Or they really dislike the litter. Some cats really don't like those crystals. I use a mixture. I use a mixture of pine, that natural litter, and then I put some of the pet fresh in there, the pet litter that soaks up more of it and controls the odor more. And I mix those two, and my cats love it, even though they go outside most of the time. When the weather gets very cold or when it's a lot of snow, they go inside, and they have, because I have 3 cats, I have 2 litter boxes because the 2 males will not go into the same litter box as the other male went. So the female and the one female and the one male will go in one litter box, and then the one male, who's more of an outdoor cat, and he was born feral, he goes into a litter box in the garage. So he has his own. But they tell me when they need to go. They sit in front of me and stare at me. And I know when my animals sit in front of me and stare at me, they want to tell me something. And it's either that they're out of water, they want food, or they want to go outside, or they need to, in the case of the cats, they need to go to their litter box. And then I just open the door. So you have to observe. I find that most of my clients who have problems with their cats or their dogs don't observe their animals enough. They don't watch them. I sit sometimes and watch them, what they are doing, and how they behave to each other. And that's how I learn. This is not, I wasn't born that smart. It's observation of the animals. Now, another thing is what I just recently heard again, that the craze for training cats to use the toilet is really reviving again. And there's a lot right now on the internet, and you probably find it on YouTube of some people that have trained their cats to use the toilet. Well, I have never been able to do that. I mean, I don't know if I really want to, because you have to put sort of like a non-slip kind of thing onto the toilet seat so that the cat doesn't fall in. I mean, the toilet seat usually is smooth and there's nothing to grip on and nothing to hold on. So for a cat to go and balance itself on there would be rather precarious. So they sell these toilet seat things that you can put on there so that the cat can grip on it. Well, I don't know. To me, it's much easier to clean the litter box. How do you feel about that, Amnon?
We never had a cat, so I
Oh,
couldn't. But I agree.
yeah. I mean, it's really not something that I find is so desirable to do. Now, right now, a lot of cats and dogs also start to have in the wintertime respiratory problems. Um, they have colds just like we have. Now, believe it or not, I make a pot of chicken soup in the wintertime, a large pot, um, and everybody has a helping. Dogs and cats, and everybody loves it, and husband, and everybody loves it. Why chicken soup? Chicken soup has a lot of lysine, and lysine increases your immune system. So, it's good. It's good for everybody. But if it's a real cold and they really have a snotty nose and they have somewhat a little bit red eyes and they can't really breathe very well, well, one thing is if it's really bad, a visit to the vet is probably the best. You can also give me a call. There are several homeopathic remedies that are good for that. You don't want it to become chronic, that they start coughing continuously, especially if it's a smaller dog. By the way, talking about smaller dogs and cats in the same household, sometimes smaller dogs, um, I mean, if you leave, like I leave cat food out, dry cat food out for the cats so they can help themselves. As for my dogs, they always have dry dog food out so they can eat whenever they are hungry. And then they get fed once a day, a wet food, a fresh wet food. a small amount. And that seems to work for our animals very, very well. And I know that many of my clients do the same thing now and find that works for them. However, sometimes um, dogs, if they love the cat food. All dogs love cat food. I don't know. There must be something in the cat food that really is appealing to cats and dogs, addictive, really. And but dogs often get allergic to the cat food. They start coughing, they start itching. So if your dog itches excessively and is into the cat food often, the first thing before I would treat the dog with anything else, I would take the cat food away. See if that does not remedy the problem. With us here, I've noticed whenever I take my little poodle has that problem, and whenever I take him away from the cat food, like we are going on vacation and only the dogs go and not the cats, well, the dog is fine. He doesn't itch, he doesn't cough, he doesn't do anything. After a couple of days, he's fine. Because he doesn't eat the cat food. So now the cat food is on the counter where the dogs can't get it. And we have pretty much eliminated the itching and the coughing. So that might be a helpful hint for anybody who has that same problems with their cats and dogs. Let me see, what else do we have? Ooh, one thing is, I don't know if I talked about that once before. If I have, it's not a bad idea to revisit that. When you get older, not even when you get older, dogs can live today. Smaller dog can live to be 18. And parrots live to be 30. Horses live to be 40. Cats live to be 20. Now, let's say something happens to you. Who's going to take care of these animals? We can't always depend on our relatives to take the animal. I have two dogs that relatives took and found it didn't work. So they were up for fostering and adoption then. You may want to be able to avoid that. There is several of the big insurance companies now have very small $2,000, $3,000 life insurance, whole life insurance, not term. Stay away from the term life insurance because they don't do anything but protect your term life insurance is really a good idea only if you have a car or if you want to, that it is paid off if you die for the spouse or a house or something. Otherwise, term, or you go on a trip and just have it for a short amount of time. But term life insurance really has no other use than that. These insurance are whole life insurance, and they cost, $10, $20 a month? Not much. And you can build cash value for the insurance, but also much better yet, you get into an accident or you have, life is volatile. It can be over in an instant. And insurance is exactly for that, so that you protect. Now, what you can do is you can protect your pet by giving the proceeds. If you, for instance, have, meet with demise, then your pet is protected. You make the arrangements before. You do have to put it into a trust for the pet, but you can really control it from the grave. So if you want to know more about it, shoot me an email or contact me. I will tell you more about it. It is not that, there's several companies that sell those insurance. Like I said, they are really inexpensive, but boy, they sure give a good peace of mind. I've done that because I've said, I don't want my beautiful mare that I've put so much effort in to go into hands that mistreat her again or treat her not with the respect that she is used to now. And the same thing with my animals. I mean, I couldn't just leave them and not protect their livelihood, and because they're not going to die with you. They are going to live on, and you can change the pet, also the name of the pet. So if, like, say you have a pet and you made it into their name, you can change that. Let's say the pet dies and now you have that life insurance. Well, then you just go in and you change the beneficiary in that trust. So it's not a big deal. And you build cash value. You have to look at it as a savings account too. And it gives you a lot more interest than the stock market does. I mean, you saw the stock market fall 2,000 points or something like that. And life insurance is not as volatile. It is not hinged to the stock market. So you are much better protected there. So, Amnon, do we have any questions?
Yeah. I mean, not Chuck is asking, our neighbor just passed away Saturday, and the neighborhood is energized to find a home for a buster. Obviously, no plans were set. It's like a comment. I mean, what can they do?
Well, what they can do is, what, so there's nobody that can take the animal, or
I guess not.
no?
Chuck,
Okay.
you want to jump in and talk with Gisela? There's an open seat. Feel free.
Hello,
Um,
Chuck.
he's not yet.
Okay.
I would think that there's nobody there. Like he's saying, the neighborhood is energized to find a home for Buster.
Okay.
There were no plans.
Okay. Well, Chuck, why don't you say where the neighborhood is? Maybe one of our listeners lives in that neighborhood and can help with that. Chuck, what neighborhood do you live in?
It may take him some time to type it in.
It's all right.
It's
It's
okay.
okay.
Yeah, you can
Uh,
you go ahead and I'll interrupt you.
okay, very good. Well, that's exactly why you should have a life insurance and a trust for your pet. There you go. Perfect example. Have somebody designated that will take care of the animal until the animal dies. And then, if not all of the proceeds of the life insurance has been used up, the rest can be designated to go to a shelter or go to another um, beneficiary of some kind, or can just stay with the caretaker, whichever one you want. It's up to the person. Now, that, like I said, that is a very good example for it. But since that was not done, the only other option is to put the animal to the shelter, depending on the age of the animal. Uh,
Okay, he's saying that he said we live in a senior community and this is not an uncommon occurrence.
okay. But where is that senior
Well,
community? What state? What country? What town? Maybe we have a
he's
listener.
saying it's in California. Uh,
Okay.
what
Oh,
options um, do they have in this kind of? I mean, how do you go about finding somebody to?
well, there are many things. One thing is you can put an ad in the paper, and they are lots of free ads. You can put it on Facebook. There is a animal. There's several groups that are, and I just was on one group that was out of California. They are looking for homes for animals. Um, Take a picture of the animal, post it on Facebook, see if somebody is interested. Um, Go to the vet. Go to your neighborhood vet and ask them, tell them with a picture, and tell them that this animal is available. Um, put pictures in the post office. Put a picture in the post office. Buster needs a home. Please help. Um, yeah, I would try all of those before I would give the animal to the Humane Society. Hopefully somebody took the animal in at the moment, right?
Yeah, he
Yeah.
says yes. Contact the owner's groomer
Yeah.
if possible. They can be help very very helpful.
Yes, the groomers also. Yes. Yes. Good idea. Yes. So there are many things, but like I said, we wouldn't have that problem if people would be aware of this little thing of was $10 a month. You can have a $2,000 $3,000 little life insurance that benefits your animal. You set up a little trust for your animal with the benefit with the person that will be the caretaker, because most of the time somebody doesn't want to take another animal because they don't have the money to pay for it, especially if it's a larger animal.
Mm-hmm.
uh, it costs money to have pets. And if there is somebody that you talk before to and say, listen, I've made a trust for Buster, and Buster has his own trust. So if I die, you will be able to pay out of that trust for his care. Would you be his caretaker? Most likely, many people will say yes.
And
If
he's adding. He says we forget that someone has to take immediate care of this animal.
Yes,
That that cannot that cannot be an assumed responsibility for a close neighbor.
that's right. That's very true. Chuck, you're absolutely right. And that is why we have to make provisions beforehand, before something happens. We all are, all of our lives will end in death. Some sooner, some later. We all will die. We
This
need to make provisions. We make provisions for our children. We make provisions for our belongings. Why can we not understand we need to make provisions for our animals? They depend so much on us.
100%.
Yeah. Without us, they cannot survive.
He says
So,
he adds that we need to discuss this with friends now. Make
yes,
plans for the inevitable.
yes, you are so right. Thank you very much for your comment there, because that is, and one of the things that I find is really, um, that we don't make those provisions. It's just unbelievable. Too many people just, it's all right. If I die, they'll take care of their own. Well, no, they won't. And to take on the responsibility, we need to take on the responsibility. And you know what? $10 or $15 a month is nothing. I mean, you can't even, you go to Burger King, you pay more, you know? So it's not a huge amount of money that you, and the money is not last. It's not just for that animal. So let's say you live another 50 years, and you can have one animal after another. Let's say today it is for Buster, the next day it's for the pussycat, and the next day afterwards it's for a horse. It doesn't matter. You can change it as the longer you live and the more you accumulate, and you can say on the end, well, that caretaker didn't use all of the money for the animal, so now that money goes to my niece or to my nephew or to whatever, or to a humane society, which in my case, I did that. I made the provision that the money then goes to the humane society. So it's up to you. You control it, and the money is not lost. So please, people, if you want to know more, contact me. It's one of the things that is really dear and close to my heart, and especially all of our seniors who are having animals. And you know what? Those animals are keeping you alive and happy. Wouldn't you want them to stay alive and happy, even if you have to go? Well, I think that's all the time we have for today. Thank you so much, Chuck, for your input. Amnon, as always, thank you so much for your comments.
Thank you.
And next week, I'm going to have something for the ladies. All of you ladies, we're going to talk about beauty and the wrinkle cream graveyard. We also will have a few other things, a few comments for seniors again. And so if anybody of you is listening in the Pennsylvania Pike County area, please come. Our next meeting is Club 55 at the Patisserie in Milford, Pennsylvania, for Share Patisserie. And I believe it's the 11th of February. It's the second Thursday of every month. And it's at 2 o'clock. And we always have a lot of fun. And we always are looking for new members and new people that are coming. You can come 2 times free. And then if you like to continue to come, you come and you pay $15 for the whole year. And that is only for because if we have to have postage stamps, or if we have to, any monies on the end of the year that we have in surplus, we're going to have a party with, not just the people that are the governing body, but the whole club. So if for everybody there's only $1 or $2, that's fine. I'll manage to somehow have a party for that money too. So it's a good cause. We can also donate it to a worthy cause. We have not decided that yet. But it's a fun club and it's a good club. And we don't play bingo. We really empower our minds. And all the seniors that are listening, the seniors are on the rise with everything. This morning I heard Leslie Caron. Now, all actresses 10 years ago when they were 40, they were washed up. Nobody wanted them. Today, we have Maggie Smith, almost 90. We have Judi Dench. She's 82. And now Leslie Caron, I think she is in her beginning 80s. They look marvelous. They are full of vinegar. They all know they're elegant, they're beautiful. And I hope that we are starting to have more men who are in their 80s and who are contributing also to us. So seniors, contribute in your neighborhood, in your area, contribute. Get out there, show the younger generation that it's not over just because you're older. And with that, I'm saying goodbye, and I see you all next Sunday. I can't wait. Bye for now.
You're tuned to the Nissan Communications Network. Our weekly lineup of call-in programs includes Computers 2K Now with Amnon Nissan, My Life, My Will with Gisela DiCarlo, The Tanya Love Show, Health Then with Debbie Bruck, Breaking Free with Marilyn Shannon, Triangle Be Well with Howard Jacobson, Lunch and Learn with Rabbi Yisrael Cutler, Lessons of Vietnam with NCVVI members, Parent Dome with Ryan Miller, Current Affairs with Amnon Nissan. And if you tuned in too late, you can always watch each program in its entirety or download an MP3 audio file of it in the archives section on nissancommunications.com. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Twitter, and like us on Facebook. Sponsored by Atomos.com, makers of quality video recorders and converters, CarolinaApparel.com, and DeltaForce.net.